Hi guys, it's SkintBoot here, and today what I'm going to be bringing you guys is a No Man's Sky video.
And in today's video, I'm excited to bring you guys a preview of RayRod's newest work, that being the V10 update to his famous Overhaul mod. Now, I've been lucky enough to be given permission to download this mod. It is currently in closed beta, and it can only be received through asking RayRod himself. A public release is due soon, but for now, we only have this private build. But with all of that said and done, please do sit back and relax. Let's get started. So I want to start off by explaining the installation process and some general useful information about the download. Now, the download itself is only a few hundred megabytes. It's also downloaded as a zip, so you will need an extractor in order to view the files. There are plenty of other mods as well that are completely optional, so there won't just be a single file when you do open the zip. The Overhaul itself is one simple pack file. It doesn't require any other files to work, so in theory, this could just be the only file in your mods folder. However, there are tons of optional mods that come with the Overhaul download, like Dark Space and some UI mods that are completely optional. I'll detail my mod setup later. RayRod's Overhaul also works really well with other mods from different developers. Now, this is a major strength to the mod, as it is flexible as shit and won't cause any issues with running other files from different developers. Those that change the same thing though may cause issues like terrain or animal manipulation, so it's worth keeping that in mind. Okay, so with all of that boring background information done, I can now actually talk about the mod itself and how it aims to change No Man's Sky and if it succeeds in doing so. So there are three main objectives of RayRod's Overhaul: to increase variation, make things more interesting, and bring back cut content. Now, you can look for hours for all of the individual changes that this mod brings, but to save time, I'll just brush over the major additions. The biggest addition, which I noticed the most, is the variation of terrain and props. Planet landscapes are not just flat, they have bumps and little ravines and just small quirks which vanilla No Man's Sky lacks. It's hard to explain if I'm being honest, but hopefully the footage does it justice. It just makes exploring that bit more unique. You're presented with more potentially dangerous landscapes. You could die from fall damage, you could fall into a cave. It just makes exploring that bit more interesting. Another huge addition is plants and animals. You can now actually have dense forests or massive animals. There aren't any timid restrictions on that aspect. The variety also means that you may break out of, say, a thick jungle into an open plain with absolutely no life. The more surprising the terrain is, the more enjoyable the experience is, and it works absolutely beautifully in this mod. And finally, we have the return of cut content. Now, there aren't any huge ones that I can think of off the top of my head. Don't hurt me, RayRod, please. But there are some minor ones like rotating atmospheric clouds on planets, the old E3 HUD, some ship and freighter models, and of course, the flora. It truly does feel like the build which we were sold on pre-release, and honestly, this description doesn't do it justice because there is simply so much to talk about. Again, hopefully the background footage makes it easier to explain. So how well does the Overhaul achieve these aims? Well, to put it simply, very, very fucking well. The initial experience of playing No Man's Sky for the very first time is always intense. There is that major sense of scale and novelty where you look up at a planet and you can go there. You're motivated to keep exploring to see new things. And when I first installed this mod, that exact feeling came rushing right back to me, as if it was back to day one, the first time I ever experienced No Man's Sky. And even now, after playing with it for multiple hours, that excitement and urge to keep on exploring, to find new things and catalogue new animals is still as strong as it's ever been. So truly, it surpasses my expectations with flying colours. As stated before, I'll also give you a quick rundown of my additional mod setup to guide some people when first using the mod. First of all, we have the classic E3 HUD, and this affects both your on-screen UI and your inventory UI. Now, the inventory UI is honestly beautiful, like so fit, like too fit, if anything. It's slick, clean, and soft on the eyes, a huge huge improvement over the vanilla user interface. Secondly, we have the procedurally generated spiral galaxies, and this essentially clusters stars closer together to resemble lifelike constellations. This exists on the startup screen when you're flying through space and the game is loading, but it also applies to the galactic map, and this has a practical advantage as systems are closer together, which makes your hyperdrive run out that bit less quick. It makes space feel a bit more cluttered, a shit ton more believable, and just looks super aesthetically pleasing. And finally, we have the more ship models, which is essentially custom ships that have been made, which are also applied to NPC starships. Now, there are more of these to discover than vanilla, and there are some Star Wars models which nerds will likely moisten up over, and honestly, it's just a cute little addition. It's not really practical. The ships don't have any overwhelming benefits, and they can't drop nukes or anything like that, but it's more to discover, and that ultimately means there is more content, which is always nice. And to end the video, I just want to speak briefly about the performance and any bugs I have run into. And I will say this right from the get-go, this mod is flawless. I have had 2 crashes since playing, but I think that this is down to shadow play since I was recording. Outside of recording, I've had absolutely no issues with crashing or freezing, anything of the sort. The frame rate is also smooth, and it only drops when there are like a shit ton of animals or heavy loads of flora. I have seen it sometimes though, when I do find animals that aren't animated, they're kind of just stuck in the ground, not really doing a lot, and they take a bit of time to sort of spring to life. But other than that, absolutely no bugs to report. It honestly doesn't even feel like a mod. This is what I love about the Overhaul. Usually with mods, you go with extreme terrain, something like that. You always have issues with falling through the map, or you spawn 300 feet in the air outside of your ship. But no, with RayRod's Overhaul, there is absolutely no issues when exploring. So again, props to RayRod, you did a really good job on this. So in conclusion, is this mod worth your time? Is this something which you should be excited about? Is this something which you should download when it gets publicly released? And to honestly put it in the most blunt way possible, yes, download it as soon as you can. It does everything it says and sets out to do so well. I often don't say a mod is perfect, but truly, this mod is incredible. The amount of work that RayRod must have put into this, the time and effort going into it, and the fact that he is constantly updating it with, say, pre-release animals that he has modeled from scratch, which that alone blows my mind how someone can do that. It's truly a mod which deserves your time. RayRod is probably one of the most talented people in the No Man's Sky modding community, if not the most talented, and truly, you will be missing out so dearly if you do not give this mod a go. Even if it's not for you, you don't like it for some reason, you want to go back to vanilla, just experience it once, because it is like playing No Man's Sky for the first time, but roided up on moisture. So that is just about all I have to say on the matter. Thank you very much for watching this video. If you did enjoy, then please do feel free to leave a like on it. And if you guys could also subscribe to MZK, then that'd be absolutely fantastic. And as always, I will see you guys on my next video. This is SkintBoot, signing out.